Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dig into something really fascinating. We're talking about what might be one of the first recorded cover-ups in history. And it's all packed into just 5 short verses in the Gospel of Matthew. We're talking Roman soldiers, a huge bribe, and a desperate attempt to explain away an event that would change everything.
So you've got this empty tomb, right? And immediately 2 completely different stories start to circulate, but only one of them can be the real story. So let's dive right into this whole thing. This clash of truth, power, and a massive conspiracy, all found in Matthew 28, verses 11 to 15.
Okay, so our story kicks off right at a moment of total chaos. The women have just found the tomb is empty, and the Roman guards, well, let's just say they have a major problem on their hands. So, verse 11 drops this really critical detail. Think about this. These are Roman soldiers. Who should they report to? Their Roman commander, right? Pilate. But they don't. No, they go straight to the chief priests, the very people who put them on guard duty in the first place. And they tell them everything. Can you just imagine that conversation? So there was this massive earthquake. Then an angel showed up. And oh yeah, the tomb's empty. This wasn't some secondhand rumor. This was the eyewitness account. And the fact they went straight to the priests, it just proves the religious leaders weren't on the sidelines here. Oh no, they were all in on making sure that body stayed put.
So the leadership, here's this absolutely unbelievable report, and now they're at a crossroads. What do? Do you investigate what sounds like a genuine miracle? Or do you bury it? Well, they made their choice. They decided to shut it down.
Now, check out verse 12. This makes it crystal clear this wasn't some panicked, knee-jerk reaction. The language is super specific. It says they assembled with the elders and took counsel. I mean, this was a full-blown formal meeting. The entire leadership got together to figure this out. This was premeditated.
And you can really see just how methodical they were. It wasn't just, let's throw money at them. No, it was a 5-step plan. This was pure strategy, all about controlling the story. And you guessed it, protecting their own power.
Okay, so let's talk about this bribe. It couldn't have been a small amount of cash. Why? Because for a Roman soldier, falling asleep on watch wasn't like, oops, my bad. No way. It was a capital offense. I mean, they could literally be executed for it. So this wasn't just hush money. This was risk your life money.
Yeah, the text actually calls it large money. It had to be a fortune, right? Enough to make these professional soldiers say, yeah, we committed a crime punishable by death. And that just screams desperation, doesn't it? It shows you just how terrified the chief priests were by the news of that empty tomb.
All right, so they've got the money. Now let's look at the actual story, the lie that the guards were paid to spread.
And here it is, verse 13. This is the official narrative they cooked up. Just tell everyone his disciples came in the middle of the night and stole the body while we were all asleep. Sounds simple enough, right? But as you'll see, it's a story that starts to fall apart pretty much immediately.
I mean, look at the difference here. On one hand, you have the guard's actual report, an earthquake, an angel, all this supernatural stuff. On the other hand, you have the official story. Oops, we fell asleep and someone stole the body. It's a pretty stark contrast, wouldn't you say?
So you got to ask yourself, does this official story even make sense? I mean, there are some huge holes in it. But the biggest one, the most obvious one, is this. If you were asleep, how on earth would you know who stole the body? Were you sleeping with one eye open? And it's not just that one flaw. You have a whole squad of trained Roman soldiers who all somehow fell asleep at the same time? A group of unarmed disciples who are supposedly going to overpower them? It just doesn't add up. But here's the kicker, the most important part. Even their lie, their cover-up, admits the most crucial fact of all. The tomb was empty. The body was gone. So the conversation wasn't about if the tomb was empty anymore. It was about how.
Okay, so the money changes hands, the story gets out there. What happens next? What's the fallout from all this?
And this is where it gets even dirtier. Verses 14 and 15 lay out the final piece of the puzzle. The chief priests basically tell the soldiers, don't worry, if the governor hears about this, we'll handle it. We'll persuade him. They're promising to use their political influence to get these guys off the hook for a death penalty crime. It's pure power politics. And you know what? It actually worked. At least for a while. The soldiers took their money, they did what they were told, and they spread the story. And Matthew himself notes that this lie became the commonly reported story, the rumor that everyone was repeating at the time.
So this begs the question, why would Matthew even include this story of a cover-up in his account?
It's kind of brilliant, actually. It's almost a paradox. By telling us about the lie, he actually makes the case for the resurrection stronger. He takes the biggest rumor of his day, the main argument against it, and tackles it head-on. He shows that even the people trying to deny it had to start by admitting, yep, the tomb was empty.
And that's really what this whole passage boils down to, isn't it? It leaves you with a choice. Which story, in the end, requires a bigger leap of faith? A resurrection? Or a wild conspiracy involving an entire squad of sleeping Roman guards being overpowered by a bunch of scared disciples? Matthew just lays out the two stories and kind of leaves it up to us to decide which one holds more water. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.